This episode of St James's Pod is brought to you by Total Supplements. Visit their website totalsupplements.co to discover their range of nutritionist-tested supplements, gummies, shakes and natural extracts. From popular sports supplements like whey protein, creatine, vitamin tablets and powders to mental health supplements such as nootropics and mushrooms, they've got you totally covered. They also have men's health collection offering testosterone support and beauty supplements to keep you looking like your absolute best. I personally use Total Supplements products and I have been using them from before they came on board to sponsor the podcast, so I'm hugely excited to be partnering with a brand that I know and love. So whether you train hard, work hard or take an active interest in your overall health, use our code stjames'pod, that's stjamespod, for 25% off your entire order. The link's in the description. Support the podcast and visit totalsupplements.co now and tell them St James's Pod sent you. Welcome back to St James's Pod. We're here for the City preview, which on paper is the toughest fixture of the season, but there's plenty of reasons to be positive going into it this season. I'm here with Tom, Alex and George here as well. We're going to be discussing that as well as the latest news, which we're going to get straight into with the Lewis Hall transfer. Now, I've just woken up in Australia. I haven't been on any website, so lads, has there been any movement? see the bags. Has there been any concrete movement on the transfer?
Well, it looks like the Tory graph have been the ones to break all the news that it seems like about 30 million fee there or thereabouts is agreed. So I think
is it loan though? Loan with option, well, obligation to buy.
Yeah, so it helps both teams out, to be fair, so it makes sense for everyone. Like, Chelsea don't need to balance the books this season because they've sold a lot of players. In the future they're going to because all this amortization of all the players that they've bought this summer. So it's exactly the same with us. We're deferring our fee till next year, they're deferring receiving the fee till next year, so win-win for both of us. And to be honest, I think it's an absolute snip for an 18-year-old who, yes, he's got 11 starts, but he's looked pretty sharp in those starts, especially against us as well.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think it's such a risky one. I think it's our most risky transfer just because of that 11 starts. I'm just I'm a bit like, personally, I would have preferred to go for like Kieran Tierney, even though he's like injury prone. Like, we're in win now as well, I think. So I think Tierney improves the starting 11. I mean, I could be wrong, but I'm hoping I'm wrong. I'm not saying he's a bad player, I just think it's risky.
Yeah, I'm kind of total opposite. Like, he was top of my list. Like, to be honest, if we're going to bring in a left back, he was the only one I actually wanted. Because I think he not only can play this season, a bit like with Livramento, he's also like gonna be for the next 5-10 years, if not more. And he looks like, even at youth level, statistically, everything, he looks like he's going to be an absolute player. And you know, he started as a centre mid as well. He's only just moved to left back in the last like couple of seasons, so he's going to probably be quite a versatile player. What were you going to say, Tom?
Yeah, no, I agree about the versatility. That was my next point. Both Tierney and Lewis Hall could offer versatility in different ways. Obviously, Tierney can play both full-back positions, can also slot in sometimes as a centre-half. But I'd highlight, like what George mentioned, the injury issues he's had in the last few seasons would be a bit of a risk, considering we've already got a left back in Matt Targett who's had some injury troubles since he's been with us. So that as much as I think Tierney is somebody who goes in straight away, is a first name on the team sheet type player, Lewis Hall, I think he's starting to raise some eyes like in terms of like his performances in those 11 games, like Alex said, the game last season against us when he played at St James's, like he was probably one of the best players in a losing side.
He played in both games against us last season, didn't he? I'm pretty sure he was good in the other fixture as well, in the away fixture.
Yeah, they obviously rate him highly, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's maybe some sort of buyback clause or something. That seems to be the popular trend for the big teams selling their young players, to include some sort of way in which they can get them back at a reduced cost, or first refusal type thing. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's included in this whole deal. But I think works out perfectly for us on paper and for Chelsea, like Alex said.
He probably reminds me of like Zinchenko, like at City. Like, he's played centre mid, he plays left back. Technically, he's very, very good. At 18 years old, like, yeah, he might not be the complete player. He probably won't be Eddie's first choice coming in this season. But I think he's got so much room to grow, and what Eddie could do with him, like, I think he could be a cracking player. Like, if you look at technical ability, him and Dan Burn couldn't be like further apart. And at like 18 years old, as George said, there is a risk. Like, he hasn't played many games, like senior games anyways. He has played all the way through all the England teams, all up until, I think, under 19s. I'm not sure he's played for the 21s. But all the way through Chelsea's youth setup, which is one of the best in the country. And he's got family who support the Toon as well, so his heart's in it as well. So that's just an added little bonus on top of the fact that I think he's got a lot of promise. And I think the rumours are that he's signed a contract till 2029, or we're offered him that anyways. So we've got this like first like year loan and then 5 years on top of that. So he'd be coming in prime by that.
It's just the market as well, I guess. Like, especially for young English players, like 10, 15 years ago, you wouldn't be paying anywhere near this kind of fee. But nowadays, that seems to be the case.
Well, if you think about, I know you guys were like trying to calculate the average age of the squad now, but if you think about the players we've actually brought in, the age of the team that we're building, it's looking really good. And I was actually thinking about this last night, is even some of the youngsters we do have, like Isaac, for example, he's still a young player, but he's so he's so mature and he's so experienced that you don't see him as that. So even when the lads sort of like the Dan Burn and the Trippier and stuff like that aren't on the first team 11 anymore, or maybe even leave the squad, the average age is going to be so low, but we do still have players within there that are like captain material and very experienced, very, very mature players. Like Bruno, he's young, but you'd still put him in that bracket. So I think the squad we're building with these transfers, like Hall, even though it is expensive, you think Livramento and Hall, like together, both fullbacks, like it's a lot of money. But I think it's going to see us right, not only for this season, but the next 5 or 10 years. And like another example of that, Sven Botman. He's very young, but you don't even like see him as a youngster, really, do you? In other news, though, we've got the Saudi national team coming to St James's for a couple of friendlies, and a
few wide smiles there.
You were just mentioning that the prince is coming. I'll let you say his name. Or he's been invited anyway.
Yeah, the UK government have invited Mohammed bin Salman to the UK for first visit in a long time. Although I've just looked, and I think they're aiming for him to be coming over middle of October, but the friendlies are actually happening in the sort of mid to or like the week and a half into September. So I don't think they'll clash. So unfortunately, we can't get everybody riled up with Mohammed bin Salman being in the stands for the Saudi friendlies at St James's. Like, that would just send all hairs racing if that had actually occurred. But just even having,
might come watch a Toon game though.
Well,
that
you might
even
actually
rile people up even more.
That would
Imagine he
well,
comes
yeah.
off playing in a Toon top. Definitely doesn't own me, but
You'd be in Weatherspoons like Tonali.
I'm not sure I'll be venturing to Weatherspoons like
The job bundle.
Imagine.
What do you make of these friendlies then? Because Twitter's gone up in uproar again, but I don't really see the issue with it. So, what do you guys think?
I think it's what we need as a club to help in terms of grow the club, the revenue, and everything else surrounding it. You know, the amount of sponsors and stuff that'll probably be sort of linked to the games, like back over in Saudi. It's just extra revenue, extra marketing that builds what we need in order to, you know, help us as a club keep on progressing and you know, help on the transfer front as well, obviously, with the as we've mentioned many times about, you know, working within the balance sheets and stuff like that. We need to find those ways in which we bring extra revenue into the club, and these friendlies would do exactly that. And yeah, I don't particularly see an issue with it, if I'm being honest.
Sports washing though, Thomas. They're making us think that Saudi Arabia is a great country. That's the issue that people have with it. But to be fair, if you look at the club, it's all to do with finances, as Paige said. Like 63% of people in Saudi are under the age of 30. So there's that market which, like, if we can become the number one club in Saudi Arabia, the amount of money from commercial like revenues that could bring in, like, there'd be a whole generations growing up being Toon fans over there. So I think that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to sort of get the Saudi. Obviously, they've bought our club. They're trying to get the eyes on Newcastle United. So I think it's simply looking about how we can get some more money in, because we need to increase our revenue to compete with those big six clubs, because we're still a million miles behind them all. Like, if you look, obviously, how much Chelsea are able to spend and stay within the rules, like, we're a decade off that at least. So it's just one of the little ways they're trying to do that.
Did this happen with, like, any of the other owners? I know, like, we're directly kind of linked to Saudi now, but, you know, when, like, Abramovich took over Chelsea, did he get any Russian national team at Stamford Bridge?
I don't know.
I'd be
actually
interested to have a look if, like, the Thais ever played at Leicester or anything like that, but I think it's such a non-issue for any other club that you don't really hear about it, even if it has happened. It's only because it's the Saudis.
Exactly. I've got
with those sort of countries as well. Normally at that time of the year, they will play friendlies outside of their home nations anyway. They'll play in Europe because quite a lot of the players are playing over that way anyway. Maybe not in the case of Saudi.
Well,
but
you saying it's a coincidence? You saying it's a coincidence that they're playing at the Toon? What a coincidence!
I mean, yeah, just so happened that they just like put a blindfold on and like just put their finger on the map, and there it was, St James's Park.
Yeah.
The teams they're playing against are playing Costa Rica and South Korea, and I think, you know, those teams generally have quite a lot of players playing in the major European leagues. Like, it would make more sense for them to play over in Europe rather than go to Saudi. So, like, you see it with, like, South American teams playing random games at Craven Cottage and stuff like that. So, obviously the Saudi connections and stuff, like, will make these two games be a bit raise eyebrows, but, like, yeah, I personally,
I don't really get it. It's like we're owned by PIF. The like 80% PIF. They are Saudi, so the Saudi national team's going to be playing a friendly in Europe. Obviously, they're going to come to St James's Park. Like, I just think people get riled up for nothing. Like,
I think there's some Toon fans who, like, try and dissociate us from Saudi, and it's like, well, there's a clear link there, like you say, PAF to Saudi, so it's like,
they are Saudi.
This is going to happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more just
So-
obviously from a point of view that when the deal went through, we had to make sure that, like, or at least to the Premier League, that there was no direct connection between us and the
Well, I don't know how we
like,
passed
Saudi
that test.
government.
Fucking hell.
The Saudi government,
but-
at least, like,
Yeah, but the
that's
Saudi
a different
government
thing.
hasn't got anything to do with the Saudi national football team. So, like, I
It
don't
was the
get.
piracy
Well,
issue
no,
that's like waved it straight through. They didn't care about being different than PF and Saudi government being different. They weren't asked about it. I don't think they ever were. Well, somewhere along the line maybe, but it's as soon as that piracy issue was solved, with the Premier League getting their money in from the Middle East, boom, like through the next day.
Yeah.
100%.
People care. Fans of the other Big Six clubs care, but we don't.
Yeah.
Wanna hear you go.
Alright. So, let's move on then to the City game. So, first up, did anyone watch them playing through the week in the game that ended up going all the way to penalties?
No.
The Super
Negative.
Cup. I was following the score. I didn't watch the game, but I was following it, and by the sounds of it, they didn't have it their own way for a City side who've obviously been so dominant in the last season and a half or so. Sevilla were right in it, 1-0 up at half time, and they couldn't seem to stop the physical threat of El Nasiri up front, and which, could be an interesting talking point about, if we go a bit more route one in some ways, because it was very much how Sevilla ended up scoring their goal, through just putting it up to the target man, getting the ball down the wing, just whipping in crosses.
Are you sure you didn't
Guardiola-
watch it? I mean, you're giving a lot of detail here. Minute by minute analysis.
No, not quite. But I mean, reading between the lines, maybe putting a bit of colour on it. But Guardiola apparently had a tough first half. Obviously, they came back into it, and then they in the second half. But I'm just putting out there some points that we can discuss in terms of team selection for our game.
The interesting thing I thought about it was he didn't make. Well, I think he made one sub.
Yeah.
Which either means he's keeping the lads that he put on the bench fresh for our game,
I hope so.
or
Look at the bench.
I mean, City's bench is still pretty decent. Or the lads that are going to be starting are going to have just played. Did it go? Seeing as you pretty much watched it, Tom, did it go to extra time, or did it go straight to pens?
Straight at pens,
Okay.
in these European games, Super Cup games,
I've seen some fans saying, I hope the Leggy after playing 120 minutes, but then I've seen others saying, nah, straight to pens, unfortunately, because they did have a strong lineup out as well. I wouldn't be too bothered about. Obviously, you'd have to win the Champions League or something to play in this, but if that was Newcastle and we had a big game at the weekend against top of the league or whatever, I'm not sure how I'd feel about playing such a strong lineup in the Club World Cup. It was a Super Cup.
Well, Super Cup, but then
Super
I
Cup,
suppose
yeah.
it's one which City had never won before. Plus, I think it was maybe a bit of Pep's vanity in terms of he never lost a Super Cup in the 3 previous games he had played for Bayern and Barca when he got those clubs to it. So maybe it was Pep who was like, yeah, deep down it's all about me not having, losing this record that I've got in this in this game.
It's probably to do with fitness as well. Early in the season, no one's fully match fit, so get them playing some minutes, get them up to speed.
And then
Well,
the fucking complaints that we're playing them on Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah,
whinging in the press. Oh, thanks. I like how he does the opposite of what will get him in trouble. Instead of saying like, "Oh, it's a joke that they're making us play on Saturday," he was like, "I'm so glad that they've made us play on Saturday, not Sunday or Monday."
Yeah.
So he'll avoid the FA like coming down on hard on him, but you can tell he's pissed that. Like, was it
Should have been the
3-4
early
days?
kickoff. Yeah,
Oh,
should have been the
match.
early
The
kickoff.
Friday night kickoff.
Yeah.
Therefore, they won the Champions League.
Aye.
With you mentioning fitness there though, Jordan, that was one thing in the Villa game that stood out to me. Was like, you go probably the last half hour of the game, we were like all the way through to the final whistle, just we looked so fit, and Villa just couldn't match us in that last half hour.
They'd give up at the
yeah.
end. There's a few of their players, actually most of their players, completely gave up by the final whistle. By the time it went to 5, you were seeing some players like I remember Kamara, like in the middle of the pitch, was not even tracking back. He just wasn't arsed. He was like, they were losing by like 3 or 4 goals, and he's just like, "Nah, I'm done for today. I'm not doing any more running."
I'm sure at one point he lost the ball and he just like didn't even try and win it back.
Yeah.
But with the extra time this season, the way they're doing it, I think that's only going to benefit us being, or at least at the start of the season, being like arguably the fittest team in the league. So, do you think that combined with the kind of pattern of City starting slowly bodes well for us playing City at the Etihad this early on in the season?
Yeah, if you want them, you want them now, I'd say. Especially with like some key injuries. KDB out, Stones is injured still. I think Bernardo Silva's ill. So they've got some key injuries there. So like, if you know, it's never going to be easy, but this is definitely the best time to play them.
I was saying the same with Villa, that like it's the best time to play them because they've got a few new players in. Don't let them gel, don't get them up to fitness, don't let them get into the flow, which obviously they did back in the last season. Best time to play them, and clearly it was true on the pitch. Like, I think a lot of Toon fans are going in to this match on Saturday with a bit of optimism because obviously City, yeah, they had Burnley first game, they seemed to breeze through it really, but struggling, apart from that, struggled in the Community Shield, struggled in the Super Cup, granted against better teams, but we are a better team. Like, I was really impressed how we played last week, and I think we'll give them a proper game, especially with the injuries, as George said.
Yeah, and again, I was gonna say, like, even after last weekend's game, like, there was some plaudits out there from some pundits, but still none which are like, gonna go and take it seriously about us being right up there. And I mean, if we put in a performance against City this weekend, yeah, we're right
That'll
up
get
there.
people talking.
That'll get people
Did you see
talking if we
Fergie?
come away.
Did you see Ferguson?
Yeah.
He's
That
put
was
down in, like,
outrageous. It's absolutely outrageous.
You know,
No,
you
it's
not
not.
too many red wines, I think.
So obviously we spanked Villa with the scoreline reflecting that. It was probably pretty even most of the first half, I'd say. But Fergie basically said that they played us off the park.
Yeah.
And it was just one of them games where sometimes you play the other team off the park, but they end up scoring a load past you. And
I'd love to turn to Villa Park and like actually be on with game then.
I know.
yeah, that'll be good. But the thing with Fergie, do you think that is just like, obviously he hates the Toon, or is he just, getting a bit soft in the head?
Well, I don't know. Like, genuinely, don't understand how he even comes to that conclusion. Like, we were first to every ball pretty much. Like, yeah, we were out the traps after 3 minutes. Yeah, granted, we conceded relatively quickly after that, but then we were straight back ahead not long after as well. And we were just all over them. Like, I really don't understand how he thinks that. Like, in some respects, we were lucky and the scoreline flattered us. Like, not at all. Like, just
Villa by the end of the match, we could have scored a few more at the end.
oh, they could have been 7. Like, and that's no, like, it's crazy for us to be sat here saying that after, like, you know, our most recent past, but, like, yeah, we could have ramped up the numbers big time, like, and yes, I can't believe Fergie even thinks that we were, like, lucky in some respects. Like, yeah, shocking.
I think it's bitterness, mate.
Yeah,
Probably. Like, obviously they did have that rivalry with us, sort of mid 90s, late 90s, and Shearer turned them down, which Man U fans are still fucking pissy about. Like, fuck me.
So bitter.
So I genuinely think it's that kind of bitterness. I don't think he's fucking losing it about. Yeah.
In terms of going into the City game with the team selection, we've got quite a few headaches for Eddie Howe, so I'm interested to know what you guys are thinking, because if we take a look back at the starting lineup for Villa, were any of you guys surprised at any of the selection? Like, obviously we talked on the last part about who we thought would start, and Gordon got the nod on the left hand side. If we start with him, we've got the contrast between his performance, which was a very good performance, he got an assist, and then obviously Harvey Barnes comes on, gets a goal and an assist. But at the same time that you were saying, Villa had kind of started giving up by that point. So what were your thoughts on both of their performances, and who would you go for against City?
We know Eddie Howe, he's going to name an unchanged lineup. I could really see the same starting 11 come out against City. Gordon had a really good game, maybe looked sharp. And yeah, Barnes did come on and look very good as well, but I think the reason he gave Gordon the nod is that he's played the full pre-season. He's clearly very fit. Like, the tracking back that he done to put Diaby off when he was basically, he was one-on-one, like, and Gordon somehow managed to get back. I think his work rate against City, I think that'll give him just the edge in Eddie Howe's mind that he deserves to start again. But
yeah, I was going to say exactly the same thing. Yeah, I think the work rate will get him the nod.
And
I mean, the quality to see any of them start. Like,
yeah, no, true.
Against Villa,
I was just going to add that the quality in the cross as well for the goal was so good. Like, I mean, he just got it inch perfect, just over the head of the defender who's looking to clear it, but it was just right on the money, and Tonali obviously coming storming in. Aye, it was, yeah, it's something that, like, I didn't know necessarily, well, I don't know, we hadn't really seen it up until now, like, his, like, ability in those wide positions to whip the crosses in like that. So, yeah, I think that just needs to be, will only help strengthen his case to get a run in the team and start again against City.
He played that ball through to Tonali soon after as well. That was it, a nice little one. So he's definitely. I think last season he was just never really truly like Eddie Howe match fit, and struggled because of it. And you can see what a player he is when he is. So.
And confidence.
Yeah, he's going to be creative, but he's also going to track back.
Speaking of Tonali though, like, he was one that we weren't 100% sure was going to start against Villa, and obviously had like man of the match performance. So I think he's going to have pretty much cemented his place in the starting 11 now. He's going to, like, Longstaff's going to find it hard to get back in. It's going to probably take a really bad performance or an injury after. I mean, it's only one performance, but it was a very, very good performance against Villa.
Oh, what a performance! Like, I mean, he was just different gravy. Like, I mean, he was spraying the passes around. Like, it was just brilliant. Like, I really enjoyed, like, just watching his performance on the day. Like, he was just amazing. Like, I really think we've got a player in Tonali. I really do.
Like Sam was saying before about the age of our squad, or like sneaky older than the actual age. He's 23. He's had over 200 appearances. Like, He's fucking class. Like, even though he didn't get an assist, he was involved in everything. Like, it was like a little like pass before I think Isaac's second goal, where he chipped it, and to be fair, in the ground, I thought it took a deflection. I thought he'd went to pass it in, and it took a deflection and like looped up. I didn't realise until watching it back later that how filthy a finish it was. But yeah, Tonali, like, what a debut. Like, he's not even known as a goal scorer as well, and he just crops up on the end of that Gordon cross, hide himself at it, and I think he really endeared himself to the Geordie faithful, because the stadium was rocking, and Tonali's name was ringing through pretty much the full 90 minutes after that.
Did he try and create any chance, or?
Thankfully not. Well, to be fair, he tries to start a few chances most games, and some of them get going and the majority don't, which is fucking fantastic viewing for me, to be fair.
Yeah. What was the safe standing like? Because obviously the first game of the season with that.
It actually worked. Like,
Whoa.
usually, like, one of the lads who stand next to it, like, we'd be like grabbing word, we'd be getting out of the seats in front, like, out, like, literally like a couple of rows down, every single goal. And no one went tumbling this time, so that's an instant winner for the safe part of it. But it was nice because, like, the whole of the corner was just standing up, and you're leaning on the bar, it's comfy, like, sound really good.
Nice.
And we've had like a few lads move next to us, because I think a lot of sort of I'll maybe say the older lot wanted to move away because they knew it'd start getting lively, and we'd had like 4 lads who have moved from the Lasers end who had season tickets sitting in front of her, who like are up on the feet like in full voice all game. So I think it is really going to help the atmosphere of like a proper singing corner. To be fair, the full Gallagher was on the feet all game, so I think it'll end up being extended all the way across. But yeah, it worked. It was really good. What was it like from your seat page? Did it seem quite like just in our corner, or the Gallagher, or the whole ground? Like, what was the atmosphere like?
I was keeping an eye on like your corner just to see how it was working, and yeah, like it was just in like full voice, like you say, like it just looks good as well. Just seeing everybody stood up as one in unison, like, and like, yeah, a bit more sort of, I don't know, you could even say for like an away team, a bit more intimidating, like when like they've just got, like, they look up into the stands and like everybody stood up and, you know, proper getting behind the team. So yeah, look, I mean, and yeah, generally the stadium was just I mean, it always is on a first game of the season, but then to put in a performance like we did, like, yeah, just it was amazing. Like, the crowd was right up for it, and even just some of the little touches they've done, like to start the games. I don't know if it's going to be a continuing theme, but like they had the fireboxes and stuff. You'll have seen it on the TV when they came out, but like, yeah, even just stuff like that, just adding a bit more intensity to like the start of the games, like and building the atmosphere up. Just yeah, really worked for me.
What were the ginger lasses doing?
Did you?
Sam.
How
How do you need for that? Matty Longstaff could be listening.
One person I want to talk about with the Lewis Hall transfer is Dan Burn, because obviously there's been quite a bit of discussion about the left back position in pre-season, and I guess we kind of didn't know if Target might get a chance to get back in the starting lineup this season. How did you find him and his performance, especially up against Diaby, who obviously is a very good player?
Well, it's a hard one, because I think the goal which they scored and Diaby scored, like, it was a good move in some respects from Villa.
Some luck in it as well, though, wasn't there?
There was a bit of luck at the big deflection, and that then looped to Watkins, but then that was a good header across. But then we were a bit suspect, like, to just have Diaby with that much space in the box, and I don't know who was kind of responsible for that part of the pitch, whether or not Burns should have tucked in a bit or got in front of him a bit more, whether or not Botman had been passed on to him, but somewhere along the line, we kind of just lost the man there completely, and he just had. He was a good finish, but he had quite a bit of time to finish that one off. So yeah, don't know if it was Dan Burns' fault entirely, but it's his side of the pitch. So, but then apart from that, I think we recovered pretty well, and can't say particularly that we had many more troubles, especially for Burn down that left side throughout the game. But Alex, I don't know if you thought any different on that.
No, I thought in general, again, he had a pretty solid game. Obviously, yeah, the goal came from that side. Matty Cash's chance came from that side, which he should have buried.
Yeah, that was a let-off. That
was a massive let-off. I think that was at 3-1 as well, so it could have changed how that second half panned out. But we got away with it. I think he defended pretty solidly. He didn't really offer anything going forward this game, but I think with Lewis Hall coming in, I think it's still Burns' place to lose. I think Eddie Howe trusts him. I think unless there's a string of poor games or where he's unfit or needs rotated with obviously League Cup, Champions League games, I still think Burn will be first choice for the foreseeable, at least anyways.
Do you think we'll play Hall in the Champions League? Or do you think he'll stick with the same back four for Prem and Champions League?
I'd say he'd probably stick with his strongest lineup. I don't think we'll try and rotate too much, to be honest. Obviously, we're going to have to. Maybe the wingers will rotate a bit more, but I think as a back four, Dave Malone used to say, I don't like messing around with my defence. So, I think...
that's an FA winning manager right there.
It is,
exactly, he knows his shit, yeah.
Spitting facts. So, I can't see that defence rotating too much.
It's probably going to be more the FA and League Cups, isn't it? You'll imagine.
You'll see more rotation,
which it'll be nice to see Lewis Hall, Livramento getting a start rather than Dummett. But do you think that means Alex Murphy's probably not going to get much of a shout this season, or do you think he might come in as left-sided centre back in those games?
Personally, I can't see it. I can't see him getting too many minutes. Obviously, he had a few showings in pre-season and looked pretty decent, considering I've never seen anything of him before. But I think in the sort of non-friendly games, I don't know how much we can rely on him to put in a performance against some lower league sides. If we draw someone against in League 2 or something like that, then yeah, hire him in. Why not? Couldn't do any worse than we did against Sheffield Wednesday last season, and we played a strong lineup pretty much. So
yeah, I noticed Miley wasn't even on the bench, was he, for the Villa game after a decent pre-season? So I think the youngsters might find it a bit tough. The ones coming through our academy. But speaking of Murphy's, Tom, obviously your main man came on, got himself an assist.
It's a lovely segue. Gotta like that segue.
Fabulous segue, thank you. Yeah. Oh, what?
Think you
great energy.
Pushing for a start for City, or
great energy?
No, not a start, no. But the energy kick that he brought with him off the bench, we didn't skip a beat, did we? Let's be honest, we brought Barnes on, and
he got very lucky for that assist, though, mind. I mean, it was a great pass through, but if you watch it back, he proper miscontrols the ball, and it just goes past the Villa player.
Yeah, well, look, come on, why are we trying to put slander on him? Look, he's he did it. It looked from where I was sat to be a fantastic defence splitting pass. Everybody's raving about Mo Salah's pass in the Chelsea Liverpool game, but you could, I don't know, put Murphy's up there with Salah's for me. Just sent him away, put Barnes away through on goal, just made the goal for him pretty much. But no, I'm probably going a bit off piste here, but the energy we had in Murphy and Barnes and like in Wilson as well when he came on, like we literally just swapped all them attacking players out who'd done so well, fitted those guys in and kept up the energy levels, kept on going, kept on being aggressive.
We mentioned it in the preview, didn't we? Like, it's going to be great this season to have that ability, especially with the 5 subs, to just swap that front 3 last half hour or whatever, and like the drop off, there isn't much. So
no.
Do you think we'll see that again against City? Same front 3, same substitutions?
Potentially, yeah.
I would not be surprised one bit, yeah.
Yeah, like we
Do you think there's any chance Wilson gets the nod against City?
Isak looks so good, to be fair. Like, he scored 2 goals. I know Wilson did look very good when he came on. Should have scored 2. But Isak should have scored a hat-trick, to be fair to him. I think the way Isak can run at people and the pace that he's got on the counter-attack, like City obviously play really high at home, they'll play really high. I think obviously that's what caused Villa so many problems on Saturday, and if we can get in behind City again, I know obviously Walker's fit, but I reckon we could cause them problems again, and Wilson lacks that yard of pace now. Well, he's never really been a pacey kind of player, he's always been great position and great finisher, but Isak's got that where he can run in behind and he can drive the ball at his feet at players, and
he's stronger than he looks as well.
Stanky, like,
as Mings found out.
Well,
put on the weights.
that was an unfortunate incident, by the way.
It wasn't to do with the shoulder bods, to be fair. It was the awkward fall.
Yeah,
obviously really unfortunate. Like, it's not nice to see. And to be fair to the St James's crowd, he got a standing ovation when he was getting stretchered off as well.
After being booed to fuck for staying down.
Well, because it looked innocuous though, didn't it? Like, I mean, we thought, like, at first, at least from where I was, like, there was barely anything like there in the coming together, like, and
it looked like embarrassment that they fake an injury because he just got shoulder barged by Isak. I was good though. He's in my fantasy team. Fucking
me and
stitched me right up.
That's your own fault. But yeah,
your own fault.
But he showed him again, obviously for his second goal, like the strength, obviously, to knock Conser, wasn't it, off to score as well. Like, so you're right, Isak does, although he does look quite wiry, like he's obviously got strength there to. So I think you're right. Isak probably would be the better person to start. I know we said in the preview, or at least I said, that Wilson would have been a good choice because he would have loved the physical battle of going up against the likes of Mings and Conser, but obviously paid off in the end that Isak started anyway.
Any other tough calls, do you think, for the City game? Or I know you're saying probably go same starting 11, but most of the lads, well, everyone who started really had a good game. Bruno was back towards his best. Joe Linton had a really good game. But even like we thought Shaw might not make it through injury, but he was fine, solid. You didn't even really notice him that much throughout the 90 minutes. So I think. Do you think there's a chance Lascelles gets a shout though after his performance last season against Haaland?
Be very surprised. Like, I don't think so.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect to see him, but only if like we brought him on late in the game, for whatever reason. Yeah, but it was, yeah.
Good job you're not manager like Sam.
Yeah, I'll just ask questions, yeah.
I reckon the closest one we've discussed is Harvey Bonds, and to be honest, I think that's going to be the same throughout the season. Like, I think if we keep up that level of performance, the only person that's close to breaking the starting 11 will be Bonds as the season progresses.
Agreed.
What did you make to Anderson missing out on a starting place
I was surprised, mate.
after his
personally.
pre-season.
Like, yeah, he was
Yeah.
our best player in pre-season in pretty much every game. I thought he'd start over Tonali and would kind of ease him in. I'm glad we didn't, but yeah, I was very surprised.
Yeah, obviously in my prediction, I predicted him to start over Tonali as well for that exact reason, and he is so unfortunate to like have a guy coming in for 55 million in his position, because I think he would have started if Tonali wasn't brought in, but unfortunately for him, we've got a really good player in, and I just can't see him getting back in.
Yeah, I was gonna say the only player I can see him coming in for potentially is Joe Linton, but that would
When
be
he gets his fifth yellow card.
well, yeah, that's if whether or not he's treading a thin line on the suspensions, or like I don't know. He's probably now, if you look at the middle three of Joe Linton, Bruno, and Tonali, you'd still probably look to Joe Linton as being the weakest of that three, despite obviously the great form that he's put himself in. So potentially that's a route there if Joe Linton's form does dip in any way.
But then you've got Willock coming back from injury as well.
Well, yeah, where's Willock going?
Left-sided centre mid spot, so
Yeah.
for Anderson, it's going to be so tough to get minutes outside again the cup games.
Jeez, I don't even know about where like Willock. Like, yeah, where's he
Willock?
gonna get? Yeah, yeah. Where's he gonna get in the team? Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's we're so now.
Do you remember when you were saying we didn't have that much depth in the last episode?
I know, I did say that. I did say that, but then after such a brilliant performance against Villa, I'm like, yeah, like, and seen it like there coming, all the players coming off the bench and like stuff like that. Yeah, it's changed my view completely.
If we got beat 2-0, I'd be like, oh, we need depth. We need to go back in the transfer market, buy more players.
What a 5-1 win does for everybody's optimism. I'm changing my prediction now.
Again, as well. Like going into the season, I'd had this Man City game down as 0 points. Like we're not going to get anything there. But now I'm going into Saturday like quietly confident that we can get a result, even if it's a draw. Like I think we could easily take points there. Like if we're on our best game, and the big fucking Norwegian bastard doesn't have our pants down, which he hasn't so far in his games against us.
No.
With 1 goal and 1 assist, I think, in the 2 games.
I mean, you'll be crying in fantasy and the draft, but you'll be laughing outside of that.
Oh, I want my fancy team to do bollocks. I'll be captain Haaland. I don't want him to do anything.
Yeah.
Aye.
I want 2 or 4 points. That's all I want. Actually, preferably 0. If he's a bit unfit from the Super Cup game and he doesn't play, that's the best case for me. Like,
Shall we have a look at how our FPL team, the St James's Pod team, did? I've had a pretty solid first week in the league. From having a look at it, 71 points was it total?
Nasty.
you tell me, mate.
Just while you're doing that, I'm just
You
looking
put
at
it
the
together.
odds.
I've got it in front of us.
Tuna like 4-1 to win, City 4-6.
See, that's like, I'll take those odds. Like they're odds
Yeah.
on, but they're not like.
No, City at home are usually, sometimes 2-9, something like that.
Yeah. So yeah, the book is obviously taking our result. I bet you that's changed since the weekend as well. I bet you we weren't that short before the Villa game.
Well, yeah, it's actually a tiny bit short. It's 18-5, so it's coming in.
Coming home. The Premier League, that is.
The
So
Premier
are
League
we-
that's never been home. Just coming in.
Are we top of the league in FPL as well as the Premier League then, Tom?
No, St James's Pod actually
The boys in the league, man.
76 points with it, which is 5th. But yeah,
Fifth.
a few
It's not
points
good in our own
behind.
league, is it?
a few points behind Alex's team.
The Toon
Who
treble
tops the
though.
league?
Botman, Barnes, Isaac. Plenty of points. Was it 29 between them? Gosh.
I was
Yeah.
I was all geared up for putting Botman in my team as well, and I thought I'll just wait till the bad run, and then I'll swap Mings out for Botman. And then, obviously,
Foolish.
Chuckman against
That's
City.
what.
anyway, let's talk about City a bit more in depth then, because it's a bit tough with the Pep Roulette and stuff to predict who they're going to be starting. But do you think the likes of Foden will start, even though he started against Sevilla in the Super Cup? Do you think we'll be seeing Grealish? Obviously, we've been seeing that they've got players out, like Silva's meant to be ill. Have they done any more business in the transfer market as well this week? I know they were linked with more centre mids, but I don't think they've got anything through over there.
They're trying their best with Lucas Paquetá. They're aiming to bring him in as. No, I don't know if it's necessarily a direct replacement for or like a knee-jerk reaction to De Bruyne's injury, but he's somebody who they're looking into for about 80 million is what West Ham are valuing, but yeah, nowhere near in terms of getting that one done, and won't be done before Saturday's game, but they're still going to be active in the market, I would think, to bring in some more players. But I was going to mention one of
who do you see starting? What was this? Go on, man.
I was going to say one of their younger players, Cole Palmer, seems to be getting a lot more minutes going forward. Whether or not he's going to be in line for a start against us, I don't know. But he's somebody who I'd expect to feature at some point in the game.
I think they'll bring Alvarez back in. He played against Burnley, and I think he was on the bench the other day, so I expect him to come back in as well.
Yeah, like he plays in that sort of role where De Bruyne plays, doesn't he? So obviously with him being out for 3 to 4 months, I think Alvarez will start quite a few games going forward.
Yeah, and I think Kovacic will get a lot more minutes now with De Bruyne being out as well.
Yeah, I think Grealish and Foden will probably start on the wings with Haaland, obviously in the centre. I think that's what they started first game against Burnley, and obviously they have lost a few players. They've lost like the likes of Mahrez and that. Like they don't have the same depth like they've had for the last couple of seasons. If you look like at a lot of the bench players, it is a lot of sort of young academy players. So obviously with a couple of injuries they've had, Stones is out, Gvardiol started against Sevilla. Yeah, like I think we've got enough to ruffle them up a bit before they've got like a settled team, because like sort of back in the season City are like unstoppable. They'll go on these sort of like 10-game winning streaks and stuff like that. Let's get amongst them now and I'd take something off them.
Do you think the fact we won 5-1 against Villa will be in like Pep's head, and he'll be like really putting the pressure on them this like before the game?
He'd be stupid not to, like, and this is the thing, like, I'd go back to the point around how I felt, some of the pundits after the game, our game against Villa, seemed to be a little, they're not getting as hyped as they were about other teams' performances, and yeah, it'd be stupid if Pep was to just take us lightly and think that we're not somebody that can compete and contend with them across competitions that we're both in. So I'd like to think that he's taking this game as serious as any other game that he would against Man United or Liverpool or somebody like that, Arsenal. Like he's got to treat us the same way.
He's always been quite complimentary about us as well. Like, not always, but the last couple of the season, since we've been decent.
I think a lot of teams are going to wake up to the fact that Newcastle are like back. Like we are one of the bigger teams now, and it'll be the harder teams to play in the league. I think some news outlets, some media have started calling us the Big Seven now, and I think we're gonna be threats in that way. There's gonna be a lot of teams coming at St James's Park with deep lines of defence, low blocks, as I like to call it these days. And I think teams like sort of City, I don't think they'll take it for mugs anymore. Of course,
Newcastle's
they're going to play this.
back. We're back.
We're back.
We're back.
Staying at St Sam didn't at the start of the episode. But yeah, I think they are going to take it seriously, and although they're not going to change their style of football, the City play how they're always going to play, I think what could cause them problems getting behind. Yeah.
With that we're back talk. Did you watch the first episode of the Amazon doc yet?
Well, yeah.
Yes.
Did you straight on it?
I'll
Did
be
you
straight on it
stay up
again
for it,
tomorrow. Didn't quite stay up, but yeah, I found a little hour during the day to watch it.
Hopefully, your employer isn't listening to this. Hopefully,
I was given an early
You're getting
finish.
off
It's
your
all
lunch,
right. Yeah, I do. But yeah, no, great. It was a great episode. It was to see all of the sort of workings with behind the scenes on the Anthony Gordon deal. It was quite interesting.
Didn't you think it
to
went
see
fast though? Considering we're only one episode in, we're like already where did it leave off? Like it was just before Wembley, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It did skip quite a bit, but then it is only 4 episodes long, isn't it? So the
Isn't Wembley like about halfway through the season?
Yeah, it's like February, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what they fill with the other 3 episodes. But yeah,
obviously the final will take up a chunk of the next episode. But yeah, no, I did like seeing the sort of the backroom stuff, and yeah, paints a different light on how much like Anthony Gordon was well thought of before signing. There was clearly, a big push to bring him in because they really rate him highly, and then obviously he goes and puts in a really good performance against Villa, so it's kind of just starting to show exactly why they were so adamant of getting him in, even when Everton were trying their best to price us out of the move. So yeah, no, it was good. It was a good episode. Enjoyed it.
Yeah, because we still get slated on Twitter for spending that much money on Anthony Gordon. So for him to have a class season this season, like to throw it back in all the faces, and like that's the one player who I really wanted to just thrive on Eddie Howe and just fuck the haters kind of thing. But yeah, I really enjoyed the episode. But I do think it's a little bit of like a fluff piece on the club. Like it's shining in such like a good light, like on the that's like all the owners and like everyone, basically the whole club. I did enjoy it, and there's a few moments which got to us, like obviously Sean Longstaff scoring, like that pulled on your heartstrings a little bit. So it was good to see. I will be watching it, obviously the next one tomorrow. Yeah, I did enjoy it.
I think just on that point, I'd be very surprised if like the final cut didn't have to get the approval of the owners to then go out. Like it's probably the same with all these sports documentaries. Like it won't be just us. Like there's tons of them out there, and across loads of sports it'll be the same. But
yeah, final say on the cut. I don't know. It's interesting to know what the actual procedure is, because with the Arsenal one, obviously, like you'd think they'd cut that bit where he's like playing the "You'll Never Walk Alone" on the training pitch and stuff. That is obviously like quite embarrassing. But I don't know. Maybe they saw it as inspirational instead. When's episode 2 out? Is it today or tomorrow?
Today for you, tomorrow for us. You live in the future.
Yeah.
Well, I had issues actually. I was sat waiting
Big
for
issue.
it. At the time it's meant to drop, I was like searching it. I waited another like good few hours searching it, nothing, and then realised it only drops at that time in the UK. So
Yeah,
I had to get a VPN on and that.
Yeah, I noticed on the Twitter they said that it's out in like I think it's the UK, Ireland, and the Nordics countries or something like that. Like it was very specific, like which countries it was out like at midnight. So did he just like switch your prime over to the UK and watch it on there?
Yeah. Well,
Sam.
I've re-registered with a different account and I had to watch it on my laptop. But yeah, it's
don't
like,
yourself in.
I don't want to be like too late to the party. So I'll probably do the same today. But yeah, so back to City then. We've still got to do our predictions ahead of the game.
How many will have 5-1?
Yeah, last episode, obviously none of us got the actual scoreline correct. We all predicted a win. I was 3-1. One year's
You
with
were
2-1,
closest
one was
then.
2-0.
I was 2-0, Pidgey 2-1.
I was
yeah.
2-1.
So for City, I'm going to say 2-2. Who's next?
I'll go 2-1 City. Close but no cigar.
Scumbag.
Yeah, man. Here, man, look.
be fair,
you know what happened to the
I was gonna
last...
go with the same
Like, when
scoreline.
Jack said this, like, Jack fucking come on this podcast and predicted a
What,
defeat.
Jack from the Athletic?
He hasn't been seen since. Aye, Jack from the Athletic. Yeah.
Yeah, but what game was that? It probably wasn't City away.
I can't remember what game it was,
Southampton
but
at
it
home,
was...
I think.
Yeah,
I mean, we only lost 5 games, so it could have been like Liverpool twice, Villa, City, or what was the other one? Like
well, yeah.
Arsenal.
Arsenal, aye. So it was only
Either
the 5
way.
games we lost, so it must be one of
Yeah,
them.
but I don't think you got
It's
it right.
emotional.
Anyway,
I've enjoyed my run. I'll catch you later.
Well, we might get peak falling back.
Yeah.
Pete's sat listening to this raging because he's predicting 5-0 Toon win here. I'm gonna say 2-2.
Oh, you should have said 3-1 City there. You missed the opportunity.
Nah, I'm a true fan.
I can't say 3-1 City, can I? The tight legs are going to get to them. It's going to be 1-1. Stick 1-1 down. That's the thing, like, it's the hardest game of the season. Like, we should probably be predicting a 2-0 loss. But as you said, the bookies odds, like, they're only slight favourites. We'll be, what, like 11-10 or something like that for the 2-0 draw. So, probably like 40% of the time we're going to come out of this game without a loss according to the bookies. So, I'll absolutely take that.
What was just the draw bet? What were the odds on just
Doesn't work
just
for
to being
William
a
Hill
draw?
anymore, man.
He's
No, the odds are
coming
top
on.
of his head. I'm
I
going
don't
12 to 5. 12 to 5. It always seems to be like 12 to 5 for a draw somewhere. And gamble safe to everyone. Pagey works for a betting company, so he's probably promoting gamble as much as he can, but the rest of us aren't like that.
I'm not. Yeah.
We're not talking
Please gamble
sport. You're saying odds on the podcast. Like.
Have a bang on that.
In game. Yeah. Wow.
So 16 to 5, they're the live odds with William Hill. You can also catch the game on TNT Sports 1, just for our listeners in the UK.
Is it TNT, is it? I haven't watched any of the coverage yet.
Nah, no me.
Wanna hear you go.
that was the City preview. If you enjoyed the episode, please do give it a like. It really helps us out with the algorithm to get more people listening to St. James's Pod. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and follow the podcast. We'll be back after the City game, with hopefully another 3 points to celebrate. But we'll review the game and look ahead to the next fixture, and we'll also discuss whether or not St James's Pod have managed to get to the top of that FPL League. If you're not in the league already, do join it. I'll put the link in the description. You can battle us out in Fantasy Premier League, and join us in the next one. Catch you then.
Wanna hear you go.
You've got to like, subscribe, press the notification bell, share it on your Twitter, tell everyone about St James's Pod.
Tell your neighbour, tell your barber.
Wanna hear you go.